Coming up on AC 24/7, air travel attempting to return to normal again, this time after a massive FAA outage with worldwide impact. What we're learning about the investigation into the cause. Plus, we'll take a closer look at eggflation, when you could see some relief and what you can do now to deal with those higher prices. And we're remembering one of the greatest guitarists in music history, Beck. Welcome to another edition of AC 24/7. I'm your host, Lamont Baldwin. A special counsel is now investigating the discovery of documents with classified markings found at President Joe Biden's home in Wilmington, Delaware, and an office in Washington. Attorney General Merrick Garland named Robert Hur as special counsel. Garland says the president's personal counsel reported the documents back on December 20th, and they were turned over to the FBI. Garland says the Justice Department is now committed to finding the facts and following the law.
As I have said before, I strongly believe that the normal processes of this department can handle all investigations with integrity. But under the regulations, the extraordinary circumstances here require the appointment of a special counsel for this matter. This appointment underscores for the public the department's commitment to both independence and accountability in particularly sensitive matters, and to making decisions indisputably guided only by the facts and the law.
Still no full explanation from the FAA computer outage that grounded thousands of air travelers from coast to coast, but officials now say they've traced it to a corrupted database file. The Advocate Channel's Omar Jimenez reports.
Sorry for all the inconvenience, but like I say, this is a nationwide issue. It's not just a local issue.
This is how the day started at airports across the U.S. Wednesday. A nationwide ground stop from the Federal Aviation Administration, the largest since 9/11. The ripple effects of the ground stop are now affecting thousands of flights.
We've been delayed 3 times. There are no more flights leaving today that would get us there on time, nor tomorrow, nor Friday.
The ground stop was because of a system outage and only lasted about an hour and a half, lifted by 9 a.m., but it's left passengers throughout the day scrambling and authorities questioning what went wrong. The Biden administration at this point says there's no direct evidence of a cyber attack.
But we are also not going to rule that out until we have a clearer and better understanding of what's taking place. But again, no indication of that at this time.
The FAA is working aggressively to get to the bottom of the root causes for the system outage so that it does not happen again.
The White House adding that issues began to pop up Tuesday.
DOT and FAA report that yesterday they were working through issues in the NOTAM system, which is used to communicate key safety information about runways and flight patterns with pilots.
The affected system is known as the Notice to Air Missions, or NOTAM. It's separate from air traffic control, but sends alerts to pilots to let them know of conditions that could affect their flight safety, like if a specific runway is closed. The flight chaos is the second in less than a month after holiday travel was severely impacted, tied to weather, and a meltdown at Southwest Airlines due to outdated airline systems. This time, Southwest is canceling 400 flights, but still nowhere near as bad as just weeks ago when it had to cancel more than 16,000 over about a week. But now, with an FAA failure, every airline is being affected.
We booked our flight to Chicago with about a 10-hour layover just in case something happened, and I'm glad we did.
Even with operations continuing to normalize, the next step for officials is making sure this doesn't become the new normal.
This situation begs the question about the current state of the technology infrastructure at the FAA. We're going to need to take a look at that.
Now that we've gotten through the immediate disruptions of the morning, is understanding exactly how this was possible and exactly what steps are needed to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
California is bracing for more rain, even as some begin to clean up from a series of storms that battered the state. Nearly 5 million people under flood watches, and the death toll is now rising. The Advocate Channel's Mike Valerio reports.
California residents are bracing for another round of storms, and the death toll now rising after the body of a 43-year-old woman was recovered from a vehicle in Sonoma County. Divers located the car in a vineyard. It was submerged in 8 to 10 feet of water, and nearly 5 million people are under flood watches as yet another atmospheric river is bringing more rain to the Golden State.
It's been these cycles over and over again. It's really kind of wearing on the community. We're probably a little over halfway done at this point, so we're not out of the woods yet. We have another week or so to go.
Lieutenant Governor Eleni Kounalakis fears the state is reaching a breaking point.
The drainage system just can't handle any more water. We can't get the water out of the neighborhoods quickly enough.
The recent onslaught of storms is a result of atmospheric rivers, which are long, narrow regions in the atmosphere that can carry moisture for thousands of miles. 4 more of them are expected to hit California in the next 10 days.
The back-to-back and the heavy rains, the nonstop. It'd be nice if we could have like a few days in between, just to breathe.
The heaviest rain over the next 7 days is expected in Northern California. The National Weather Service forecasting an additional 5 to 10 inches with localized higher amounts.
More than 100 National Guard members are searching for 5-year-old Kyle Doan after he was swept away in floodwaters. Kyle and his mother were separated as waters poured over their vehicle. The family's SUV was later located under mud and debris, but Kyle is still missing. Consumers and businesses are seeing an increase in egg prices and a shortage at grocery stores. And it's not just the avian flu that's pushing wholesale prices to record highs. The Advocate Channel's Cole Higgins has more on what's behind the soaring prices and empty eggshelves.
Eggflation hitting shoppers at grocery stores nationwide. A shortage of eggs resulting in empty shelves and forcing consumers to shell out more cash for those hard-to-find egg cartons.
I've noticed it being $1 a dozen to now $5 a dozen. Definitely the prices have went from comfortability to not.
According to the food market data company Urnerberry, as of Tuesday, January 10th, the average price for eggs was $4.33 per dozen. This time last year, that price was around $1.33. And that's forcing businesses to pass on the higher costs to consumers.
Prices has just quadrupled. It's just amazing.
So what's behind the higher costs? An avian flu that's wiped out egg-producing hens, leading to a major supply squeeze. According to the USDA, about 60 million birds are gone because of the disease so far, as farmers across the country have had to destroy entire flocks of chickens if one or more test positive for the avian flu.
18 eggs some days when we were usually getting, 15 to 18 dozen this time last year.
And on top of all that, higher prices for transportation, feed, and energy for producers are also forcing egg providers to raise prices. And experts from research firm IRI say it could take several months for production to return to normal. Experts say to avoid scrambling to find eggs, avoid shopping on Sunday night or Monday mornings, since most stores restock overnight during the week. For Consumer Watch, I'm Cole Higgins.
Stage and screen star Carol Cook has died. The 98-year-old passed away from heart failure Wednesday, just 3 days shy of her birthday. The legendary Lucille Ball gave Cook her first big break. She appeared with Ball on 18 episodes of The Lucy Show from 1963 to 1968. Cook also starred on Broadway. She originated the role of Maggie Jones in the 1980 Broadway musical 42nd Street, and she appeared in dozens of movies, including a memorable role in the 1984 comedy classic 16 Candles. A statement posted on social media says the 78-year-old contracted bacterial meningitis and died Tuesday. Beck was born in Britain. In the 1960s, he replaced Eric Clapton in the Yardbirds. He left a year later to start his own band, the Jeff Beck Group, which featured Rod Stewart and Ron Wood. The Yardbirds were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 1992. Beck was inducted in 2009 as a solo artist. He received 8 Grammy Awards during his long career. Thank you for joining us for another edition of HC 24/7. For more content that advocates for you, go to theadvocatechannel.com and follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. For the Advocate Channel, I'm Lamar Baldwin.